Welcome to BattlefieldOne Podcast, your ultimate destination for all things about your favorite yet frustrating sometimes franchise, Battlefield. I'm your host, Tom, also known as the Lanky Soldier, and I'm here to guide you through the trenches of this godforsaken franchise. I'm here by myself today, unfortunately, but it won't stop us from having a good conversation about the next season. What was next? Season 7 that already came out, and some new leaks about the next Battlefield game, which includes some factions. But more on that later. To returning listeners, you know where to go. I don't have to tell you anything. You know the deal, you know what the time codes are and everything. You know where to go. I'm not gonna tell you much. And for the new listeners, welcome. I hope you're gonna enjoy your stay. I hope you're gonna enjoy my ramblings. Usually I have a friend that talks to me, about Battlefield, but this time I'm by myself. So hopefully you're gonna enjoy the discussion I'm gonna be presenting, I guess. And in this podcast, we delve into news, updates, discussions surrounding this iconic Battlefield franchise. But it's not like, just like news and everything. We don't talk balance, we don't talk, metas, we don't talk about that kind of stuff that can be changed. It might change in the next patch or whatever the case may be. We more focused on the discussion itself than the actual news. So the reason why this show was rebooted in the first place is because we want to talk about Battlefield that is not focused on news or anything, because we think Battlefield is a really interesting franchise that is more than a spreadsheet first-person shooter. Like Call of Duty, for example, there's always map changes, gun changes, all that kind of stuff, balance changes. Battlefield is not really about that, if you think about it, and that's the thing we try to focus here. We try to have a discussion about this franchise, whatever the discussion may be, and we try to focus on that. So whether you, a Battlefield 2 player, Battlefield 3 player, Battlefield 4 player, Battlefield 1, or whatever, or maybe you're a brand new player that started with Battlefield 2042, I think you will enjoy this podcast, and so far we've been really good at it. We had some success, and people love it, so thank you guys for listening, thank you guys for finding us, thank you for, joining us on this discussion, and we're gonna talk about Season 7 today. Interesting discussion is gonna be today, but yeah, I'm glad you found us, and I hope you're gonna enjoy it. So, and if you're a new listener, all listeners they know what's gonna happen now, but we do a bit of housekeeping, what did I say? A bit of housekeeping, which with each episode, and because it's important, because I need to remind people what's happening and so on. So your time is valuable. So with every episode, we have time codes in the description, whether you're listening this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Alexa. I see Amazon Alexa users. I did mention you last episode. I'm still going to mention now. You can go into the description and find the topic you're interested in. You don't have to listen to the whole podcast, to the whole episode. If you want a specific topic, just go into the description, press on the time code, and you can listen to the discussion, the particular topic you want to listen. Because I understand your time is valuable, you don't have a whole hour to spare, I get that, so time codes are there for a reason, to make your listening experience much better. Yeah, so I hope that makes it easy for you. Of course, we do have a social media accounts, again, available in the description, so please do follow us, give us some attention there. And we also have a Google Forms document in the description. So the purpose of this document, that Google Forms document in the description, is to give you easy access or easy way of contacting us about anything, feedback, questions, insults, compliments, whatever there may be, whatever is on your mind. If you don't have a social media account and you don't want to email us, because I get it can be tedious sometimes. So Google Forms document is there to remove the friction of you contacting us. So if you have anything on your mind that you want to tell us, you can always go in the description, click on that Google Forms document, and just say whatever is on your mind. Ask us questions, feedback, like I said, insults and compliments, whatever the case may be. It's there to remove the friction between you talking to us. So don't want to email us, don't have a social media account, it's okay. I don't think you even need a Google account. You just have to click on the link and just start writing. It's that easy. So it's there for a reason, and I hope you can use it to tell us what is on your mind regarding BattlefieldOne Podcast, how we how we do the podcast, maybe a particular topic, or maybe you have ideas for a topic, do let us know, we'll try to discuss it. And of course, last but not least, Patreon. If you're really, really enjoying this podcast, I fully encourage you to subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Why I encourage it? Well, it's because your financial support helps the show going, because we're not doing this full time, obviously, and Patreon users get early access to BattlefieldOne podcast episodes 3 days early, which are ad-free. So if you are a Patreon supporter, you will not be listening to this part because you subscribe to Patreon, and we realize that you don't want to listen to ads and housekeeping, everything. You just want to go straight to the topic. So on Patreon, if you subscribe, you don't listen to this part, and you get early access. We have 3 tiers available on the Patreon, and no matter what tier you subscribe to, you will get all episodes early that are ad-free. But if you do subscribe to Gold tier, which is the middle one, you will get access to our exclusive Patreon podcast, Live Gaming Gathering Extra, a podcast where me and Ray are discussing everything about video games, movies, gaming industry, whatever that comes to our minds, and we have really amazing, stuff to talk about. And I think it's one of the best episodes we ever do because it's just being us, we're just being free, it's, while we host, BattlefieldOne podcast, on Spotify and YouTube and so on, we still have to keep in mind, about, guidelines, rules and everything if we want to be monetized, how much swearing we can do, all that kind of stuff. While on Patreon, we can just be, relaxed, don't think about anything too deeply and just discuss whatever is on our minds. And I think it's the best episodes we ever did because it's less structure in a sense, and it's a good thing because we will just be more relaxed, whatever the case may be. So to give you an example what kind of show it is on Patreon, here's a small clip from our last episode that we released a couple of days ago. I literally just went there.
They had that bitch on front and center and nobody wanted it until Tom walked in with
So I literally I literally went there to the guy. Okay, listen, I need that stand that is in the display.
Give me that motherfucker!
Yeah, I want it now. They're like, okay, cool. He goes there, picks it up, doesn't package it or anything. He just gives me the thing.
Just fucking hands it.
Yes, he just hands me the thing. He just hands me the thing. I'm like, yeah, okay. Here's. I'm paying by card. Here you go. Yep. Okay, cool. and I just went home. Sure, I didn't had to.
Pardon, shopkeep. Could I please have that little that camera stand that you have there in the front window?
Sure, kid. Here you go. Grabs it and fucking throws it at your face.
Yeah, pretty much. It's he just literally went to.
Get out!
He just went to the display. Just grabbed it and just here you go. I'm like, okay, here you go. I'm paying by card. Here you go. Paid my $10.
Shit, thanks, dude.
And then just went home. It was like a 2-minute walk home, and I'm walking with a fucking huge camera stand, for the phone. And I came home and took a picture for my girl. Look, I did an impulsive purchase, and I'm using it right now. So if you're watching on YouTube, what's it called? Fuck.
YouTube Premium?
Not YouTube Premium. Not YouTube Premium.
Goddamn, we coming up in the world.
Members.
We want some shit that's old.
YouTube members. So we have Patreon, right? So if you listen to this on Patreon, it's fine. You won't even see it. But if you're watching this on YouTube members, you will see that my camera is actually... I'm smacking my table, and it's not moving whatsoever. And it's fantastic because the stand is like a separate thing, and I can smash my table or whatever, and the camera doesn't move because it's not connected to the table. It's fantastic, and it's in a perfect height, perfect position. The best $10 I spent in the last year. It's just...
That is fucking baller.
Patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. I hope I will see you there. There's a free trial if you're not sure about it. The free trial is there for a reason, because I do believe you will stay after the free trial. And because I think we make some really good stuff, and I hope you're gonna stay around, because I will not be offering a free trial if I don't believe our stuff will be good enough, But anyway, that's all the housekeeping. That's how it is. Let's talk about Battlefield. So, right, Battlefield. So the agenda for today is episode... Let me open my notes. Sorry. Okay, so agenda for today is basically Season 7 review. The map review, the content review, all that kind of stuff, just analyzing and reviewing everything that happened in 2042 in the last month. And there will be at the end some quick mentions of leaks that happened in the last couple of days regarding the next Battlefield game. So I'll start from the start. Yeah, that's what happens when you host by yourself. And sorry, I need to have a quick sip of water. Okay. Right. So, Battlefield 2042, Season 7. So, when Season 7 came out, I did a live stream on Patreon and I posted a short, it was 25 minutes long. I streamed for 2 hours on Patreon and then I made a 25-minute video, a highlight reel or video, whatever you want to call it, on my YouTube channel, The Lanky Soldier. And it's basically me playing Season 7 on day 1, and it's basically with my impressions of the new season. And my first impressions back then, it was 2-3 weeks ago, back then, my impressions were just okay. Just okay. Season 7 for 2042 is nothing impressive, nothing special, it's just okay, It's just there. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having just okay content, especially when it comes to 2042. Sometimes okay is all we need sometimes. With the shit and the nonsense that this game had to go through, just having okay is acceptable. Is it like maybe we could have a bit higher standards? Sure. But at this point, just having an okay season is not a bad thing. It's kind of sad that me and Ray... Okay, so a couple of episodes ago, me and Ray were predicting what kind of maps are coming to Season 7. Because back in December, they said that two new maps are coming. We're gonna talk about that later. 2 new maps are coming. And we were discussing... I think it was maybe Patreon one. I don't remember. It was a couple of episodes ago. After we learned that 2 new maps are coming for Season 7 for 2042, me and Ray were already guessing, what kind of maps we're gonna get. And we thinking one of them is gonna be a jungle map. Because what 2042 lacks right now in terms of map, variety. We don't have a jungle map. And some people say... we don't really have an urban map and everything, but that's a hidden miss. Yes, that's a bit subjective, depends how you look at it, but what we really, really, really don't have in 2042 is a proper jungle map. Maybe not even a jungle map, like a proper foresty map, Maybe Caspian Border, we would say, is that, but no, Caspian Border is not really a foresty map. There's a bit of forest in there, yes, but it's not really a foresty map. So we will... Battlefield 2042 is really lacking that foresty jungly map. So me and Ray were thinking, there must be there's no way they will not make a jungle map or a foresty map for this new season, because that's what I would do if I was a game designer. I would focus making expanding the variety of the maps we have, and a jungle map or a foresty map would be one of the things to go. But we were wrong about that. They decide, you know what? Let's make a desert map. Correction, 2 desert maps. Again, I'm gonna talk about it in a second. So let's make desert map. Okay, so let's talk about the first desert map. It's called Haven. Actually, let me open the... What's it called? Roadmap. I don't know why I forgot the word roadmap. So let me open them. So this season we have 2 new maps. Haven. Again, I'm going to talk about it in a second. 2 new maps, Haven. And let me talk about the new map, Haven. So, I understand why they went with the desert location again for this map. It's because the idea behind this map is to give more destruction, give that classic Battlefield feeling. Because with 2042, and I think a lot of people will agree, that Battlefield 2042 never really felt like a Battlefield game because it was lacking that sense of Battlefield, like that Battlefield is really famous for, like, destruction. The map is not too big. There's loads of cover and everything, and big combined arms warfare with a lot of destruction happening everywhere. And that's what's usually was lacking in 2042 maps, because there was lack of destruction. And the idea was for this map, and I talked to someone regarding this. That was the idea. They want to, encourage people to use the destruction a bit more. They give that feeling of Battlefield, that you can destroy a wall and push through. And I think they did a good job regarding that, because majority of the buildings on Haven are destructible. And that's great. Of course, a lot of people notice that there's a lot of reuse assets from Battlefield Bad Company 2. Or aka Portal, because Battlefield 2042 already has these assets. They already reused those assets for this game, to make Bad Company 2 remakes. Those. So obviously, instead of making new assets, why have to make new assets if you can just reuse the old assets, save more memory, have less work? Well, less work is still a lot of work, but you can put your resources in a better use. And so if you have the resources to, the assets and everything to make a brand new map that feels unique and fresh and everything with old assets, it's fine. Use it. In that live stream that I was streaming, I said that I was laughing my ass off about the Battlefield 3 truck that is available on this map. So back in Battlefield 3, there was this truck that they made for the game, right? And they've been reusing that truck in Battlefield 4, they reused that truck in 2042, and it's so funny to see the same truck, 10 plus years later, more than a decade later, you see this truck in the modern game again. It's like, oh, I recognize you. And that's the whole theme of this, map. It's like, it's a brand new map, but it's basically made of old stuff from previous games, all meshed together. And if you're not really paying attention, you will not notice. But if you're a big Battlefield player that's been playing for a really long time, you kind of notice oh, this is the same thing, this is familiar, and so on. And that's not a bad thing. As long as the map flows great, it's fine. But as I play in the map is really small. I did not mind it at first. When I saw the layout originally, I was like, oh, this is going to be one of the best maps in Battlefield 2042. And you know what? As time went on, I'll be honest, it's not a bad map, but is it one of the best maps in 2042? You know what? I will not even put it in top 5. Honestly, I will not even put it in top 5. And not because it's a bad map, it's just very bland. I don't know, it's because we have so many, brown, the same color palette maps in Battlefield 2042, and here we go, we have another desert map. I was like, sure, it's a very vibrant desert. The map is very vibrant. If you think about it, it's like a graffiti, there's loads of colors. It's not just a typical desert map. It's not boring yellow and brown colors everywhere. It's a very vibrant map. But I don't know. To me, it's just like, if the map was a bit bigger, I think it would be better, because the way the map is right now is really, people say it's a bit steamrolly map. DICE released stats because they saw that people were complaining the map is a bit steamroll. What basically a steamroll is like one team basically destroys the other team and they can't push out their objective, home objective, like home flag or their base or whatever. So that's basically just, the results are usually like 500 tickets to 0, something like that. And DICE released stats about the win rate, about on this map, and it's basically 48 versus 52. That's the win rate on both teams. So in a sense, it is balanced. Both teams can win the game just as fine. But people will complain that it's the way teams are winning the game. So it's basically either, one team completely controls all the flags or another team controls all the flags. It's never really like a, 3 versus 2 control or whatever. And I kind of have to disagree about that, honestly. I think and I tried to talk to the Battlefield community. I posted it on Reddit. I tried to explain to them, listen guys, I don't think the problem is that the map is really uneven or I understand why they get that feeling that the map is really steamrolly. I get the feeling. I can't understand where that feeling is coming from. But I tried to explain to the Battlefield community why that is. And it's not the map itself. I have a feeling. The reason we have this feeling that the games are so one-sided is because the way Conquest scoring works. So, for anyone listening right now, you're probably confused with what I'm talking about. So, the way Conquest works, right? We have tickets, right? We have, let's say, 800 tickets on each side. So every time you die, you lose a ticket. Your team loses a ticket. And if you control more flags than the enemy, you start the ticket bleed. So every time you control more flags than the enemy, your enemy players or enemy team are losing tickets. I can't remember what's the rate of losing tickets every second. I think it's 1 ticket a second or something like that. I can't remember. But basically, if you control more flags, the enemy team is losing tickets. So that's how Conquest worked. And that's how the scoring works. So whoever loses all the tickets, whoever reaches the 0, whichever team loses, reaches that 0, they don't have any more tickets, they lose the game. That's how Conquest always worked, and that was basically it's been Conquest since its inception. That's how it always been. But as time went on, 20 plus years went on, I realized that Conquest scoring system is not a good representation how the game ended. So let's take an example. And let's say 3 flags, right? This map has 3 flags. If you control 2 flags and the enemy team is controlling 1 flag, the game might end 500-0. Now you're probably thinking, well, that can't be right. Because one team controlled 2 flags and the one team controlled 1 flag. It can't be really that bad. Which, you're right. It can look really bad, but in reality, what probably happened is the teams were probably flipping flags. Maybe one team is controlling 2 flags and the other one is controlling 1 flag, but maybe you flanked around. You're on the losing team. Maybe you flanked around, you captured the home flag, but they captured your home flag, so maybe you switch flags, but the control of the flags is still 2 versus 1. And the scoring might be 500-0. But in reality, that was not the case. It was not a steamroll. Both teams fought really hard to control majority of the flags, but one team was bad defending those flags. Or maybe attacking at the right time when they realize that there's a gap they can use to capture their home flag, whatever the case may be. And the score might be 500-0. But in reality, it's not. And that's the problem with the scoring system in Conquest. It doesn't show the true representation how the match went. And about 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, I can't remember, when was it? Maybe 5 years ago. I made one Battlefield, even further down. It was, I think, right before Battlefield 5 or something. Or when Battlefield 5 came out. I made this new scoring system, which basically keeps the same Conquest scoring system, right? You have your tickets and everything, that's not changed. But what I did, I created a new scoring system, a visual score system that explains how the ticket bleed happened in the first place. The tickets might ended 500-0. But my scoring system that I created basically gave a individual number a scale number, right? So it was like, maybe it's 500 to 0, but the end score is actually 10 versus 7. 10 versus 7 doesn't sound too bad. And I tested this system on all variety of matches, and I got interesting results. I got like 19 versus 7, and I got 12 versus 10, or 14 versus 2 or 3, whatever the case may be. So I created this visual scoring system that represented how the match went on. And I want to use this on this new map, Haven, that scoring system, and see if the system still applies. Because I applied that system to Battlefield 4, I applied that system to Battlefield 1, I applied that system to Battlefield 5. I haven't applied to Battlefield 2042, but I have a feeling I will have the same results as with other matches I tested on. It's because Conquest as a scoring value is not a true representation how the match went. So I'll try to fix that. And I kept sending to DICE privately. It's like, listen, you need to at least use the system. Whatever, for legal reasons, they probably can't do it. Whatever, I understand, because like we can't use fan-made work because God knows, maybe I can sue them or whatever if they do that and they never give credit. Like, I get that. It might be a really complicated thing to do from a legal point of view. But we need to improve how Conquest tracks the scoring. The gameplay itself is not the problem. The ticket system is not the problem. It's just the problem how the score has been represented for us players, because we get false idea how the match went. Oh, it was a steamroll. Was it though? And I tried to explain that to the Battlefield community, but they downvoted me to hell because Battlefield community, I'm not going to argue with them because there's no point at this point. And I think that's the problem. I don't think the map is one-sided to one particular side or whatever the case may be. I just think that the scoring system of Battlefield, the Conquest scoring system, doesn't represent the true value how the match went. It just gives you that really wrong information how the match went. People are like, we won the game by 10 tickets. That doesn't mean much, honestly, because there's a lot of different things that are happening in a match that might determine that how close the game went. Yeah, it's really nice feeling to win the game really that close, but it doesn't tell the true value how the match went. So I try to explain that to the Battlefield community. Listen, I don't think it's the map or the whatever. I think it's just the way the scoring system shows us the information how the match went, and it's not really correct. It's never been and never will be. So I try to improve that. Battlefield community hates it. That's fine. Even though I'm not gonna talk about it. But yeah, the map itself, I think it could be a bit bigger. I think it could be a bit, I think it gets a bit chaotic a little bit. I think it's nice to have like run from one flag to another in somewhat reasonable fashion, but I think it's just too small sometimes. I think it's a bit too small. It's also, granted, it's another desert map. It's kind of annoying to see the same shades of color every time, even though they tried their best to make this map as unique as possible with the old assets they had, and I can't blame them. It's really smart idea to use the old assets, because why make new ones if you have the old ones? I don't know, I think the map is fine. Not the greatest, it's just okay. That's the thing, that's the whole theme of the whole Season 7. It's just okay. There's nothing special happening in Season 7. There's nothing interesting, nothing unique. There's no new game mode or anything. It's just a brand new map and a battle pass. Let's talk about the other brand new map that is not out yet. Stadium. So, and that's the whole thing of the season. Everything is basically mid-season or whatever. The only thing we got this season is basically the start of new season. Is that new battle pass, which comes with new cosmetics and new skins, a new map, new vehicle that is not even out, mid-season again, a new launcher, sure, and 3 new weapons, sure, okay, sure, sure. So let's talk about Stadium, the brand new map that is not out yet. let me get this okay. Let me say this. There's nothing wrong with them repurposing Hourglass Stadium into a brand new map. Nothing wrong with that. When they were remaking Hourglass, when they were redesigning Hourglass back in November or whatever, I can't remember what was it. When they were remaking and fixing all Battlefield 2042 maps, Hourglass was definitely one of the hardest one to do because there's a lot of things happening on that map. You know, it's a really big map with really big assets and everything. And they, in the redesigned version of Hourglass, DICE said, listen, we know you love Stadium. We understand that you love Stadium. But we could not squeeze the Stadium into the reimagination or the fix of this new layout of the map of Hourglass. Is because the way it was built. Like, you know, it's too big, too many resources, too much memory is being used and everything. We could not do it. And they gave, you know, it's probably because of old generation consoles and the way the map, back in the day, they built the map. So I understand it was not easy to just port the Stadium somewhere in the middle of the map and call it a day. They probably tried, but it was just too resource intensive, too much memory is being used, and they could not do it. And they explained that. DICE explained, we tried, we could not do it, we're sorry. And that's fine. And so that they decide, you know what, no, let's take Stadium as is right now and try to repurpose it into a new map. Infantry only 64 player conquest map. No problem with that whatsoever. It's a fantastic idea. I think everyone agrees with that. It's a really amazing idea, and they should have done that from the get-go. You know, that's like, oh, that's actually a really good idea. Nice. Let's do that. That's perfect. I don't think, like in a vacuum, just in a vacuum, no one will complain about that. I don't think anyone will ever complain about that because Stadium was fan favorite location on that map. People love fighting in Stadium. It's fine. Let's make a brand new map just for Stadium. Perfect. No problem whatsoever. I have it's perfect. Done. I don't even need to tell you anything. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. Okay, well, let me have a sip of water. Okay. So back in December, and excuse me if I'm not going to be professional that much anymore because this pisses me off. Back in December, they said, they did a nice Christmas video where, listen, Season 7 is coming. And we bring in 2 new maps to the game. Not one, but two new maps. You know, we always had one map a season, right? A brand new season, a brand new map, and usually like a fixed remake or redesign of the old map. Makes sense. Okay, cool. But this season, Season 7 is going to be great. We bring in 2 new maps. Here's the locations of the maps. Here's the 2 pictures of the continents, right? One in South America and one in Middle East. You know, brand new maps. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, guys. It's going to be great. Season 7 is announced. And those brand new maps is Haven and Stadium. Like I said, I have no problem with Stadium being part of the new season. I have no problem with that. I don't care. It's fine. It's great. But what the fuck you mean new fucking map? What you mean new map? And this is not on developers. This is on marketing. What? Yet again, someone at EA, someone at DICE, whoever, I don't care. Someone seriously needs to get fucking fired. I'll be really mean to this, but it's not nice to say someone needs to be fired. But this is not the first time. This is the gazillion time someone at EA makes a stupid ass decision. Stupid ass decision to promote the video game. Battlefield 2042 in its seasons happens Happened so many times. The content is not the problem here. The problem is how you advertise your fucking seasons and your content for for your game. Yet again, EA and DICE dropped the fucking ball regarding their fucking marketing because they all about hype. Okay, was it so bad to tell back in December, say, listen, we have a brand new map coming and something that the fans will enjoy? You had no reason to say a brand new map. No fucking reason. Sure, if you're on all gen consoles, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, because the game is still running on those consoles and they get new content in new season as everyone else. For them, it's a brand new map because on 64-player Conquest, on all gen consoles, they never had Stadium. They never played on Stadium. So sure, you can say it's a brand new map legally because those consoles never had Stadium to begin with. My dude, that sure, you might do that. You might defend yourself like that. But we all know it's not a fucking new map. It's not a new map. Why are you hyping us? You can hype us. It's not the problem that you hyping us up for the new season. But don't fucking lie in your announcements. Brand new maps. Season 7. And then you realize it's the fucking Stadium. I don't have a problem with Stadium being a separate map. I don't give a fuck. It's an amazing idea that Stadium is a brand new map. Fucking awesome. But when you advertise this as a brand new map, come on, man. Come on. Please stop being shady fucks. Stop being shady fucks. What's the point hyping everyone, brand new map and everything, and then be fucking disappointed when the actual announcement happens? You could have worded this differently. You could literally said a brand new map and something the fans will enjoy. A fan favorite or something like that. Like, something on top of the new map. Like, that alone will create some sort of discussion. What's coming? Instead of two brand new maps. And one of them is not even new. Why do you have to shoot yourself in the foot so fucking badly with your fucking marketing? Why is it so fucking hard to market? It's not fucking hard. We are gamers. We're fucking morons. We're idiots. It's easy to sell a snake oil. I mean, technically, funny enough, it's not that difficult. It's not difficult to not to be a fucking cunt. It's not difficult. And it pisses me off that EA marketing, it's still doing the same fucking mistakes they did multiple times with this fucking game. Or even with previous games. It's like they haven't learned their fucking lessons. What a surprise. The Stadium is not the problem. It's how you talk about Stadium. It's how you advertise your fucking content. Why do we have to be disappointed? If you set your expectations straight and proper, we still can be hyped and be excited, and then when when the new content comes out or semi-new content comes out, we're gonna be like, yeah, this is fucking cool. But no, you have to push it over the edge as usual, brand new maps. When it's not a fucking brand new map. And it's not even launched. That's the best part. The Stadium is not even on launch day. It's mid-season. What the fuck? Okay, back being professional. Sip of water. Okay. Stadium is not the problem. Marketing is the problem. Whoever's doing marketing at EA, I'm sorry, you're shit at your job. You're actually shit at your job because you just made everyone angry for no fucking reason. You could have avoided all of this drama, all of this anger. You could have avoided it if you just used different words. You said some certain things differently. But no, you had to be an absolute douchebag. You had to... I don't know what's the point of that, honestly. What's the point hyping something up that is not even paid DLC? There's a truck in the background that is being loud. Sorry about that. It's not even DLC. So what, like, that's the thing. I don't understand what's the point hyping this up when there's no transaction happening. All of this content that you're releasing, minus the battle pass, of course, is free. The maps are free. What's the point hyping the players so much when there's no transaction happening in the first place? You see what I mean? You don't have to try so fucking hard to be shady because like, if this was DLC and your point was to hype people up to pre-order the DLC and then, like, you know, run with the money, sure, I get that. Is it scummy? Yes, but I would at least understand why you did it. Because you're trying to sell copies, you're trying to, you know, get those short-term shit, you know, short-term gains. I get it, fine. But this is a free DLC, for fuck's sake. Free DLC. What's the point hyping up like brand new maps and then be fucking disappointed when it's actually not that? Again, Stadium is not the problem. It's just the way you market the content you're trying to push into the game. I don't understand. Why you have to be douchebags? Why you have to be so shady for no fucking reason? There's literally no reason for you to be shady. That's the point. There's no reason to be shady. Literally no reason. But anyway, that Stadium, it's not even out, and it's just mid-season update. How's the okay, let me quickly mention Battle Pass, just for the sake of it. How's the Battle Pass? You know, okay, sure, new Battle Pass. Do you really care? I have a feeling I'm not going to finish this Battle Pass just because I think this is one of the most boring Battle Passes ever. There's nothing interesting in the Battle Pass. There's literally nothing. And knowing the fact that this is basically the last year, the last content drops we're going to get for Battlefield 2042, I'm like, you know what? Skins are not that good, not that interesting to look at. Do I really want to grind, you know, for all of this? And I played maybe 3-4 hours of this season. Haven't even worked on the weeklist. I just like, I can't be asked. It's like, sure, some of the skins look great. They look cool in some sense, I guess. They're not for me. I don't care. There's nothing for me to grind in the Battle Pass. But that's a subjective thing, so I understand. Maybe you like the skins, maybe. But judging by the community, the Battlefield community that I've seen, they're really not a fan of the skins and cosmetics that came out in the Battle Pass this season. Funny enough, me and Ray were talking about it on our Patreon episode, on the last episode we did. So do go check patreon.com/TheLankySoldier and listen to that episode, because we did talk about people discussing the cosmetics in Battlefield 2042. We talked about it, so check it out. It's a really good episode. I don't know. I don't find anything interesting in the Battle Pass, so I don't think I will grind. And I'll just play the game whenever I feel like it. And I think like I said, I've played 5 hours at this point. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of bored. I'm actually really, really bored of this new season. I mean, granted, there's nothing new that came out that's like, oh yeah, I need to jump on Battlefield 22 and just play it, right? There's new season in Call of Duty Warzone came out, and there's, Helldivers is out, and all the, there's so many games out there that deserve my attention. And Battlefield 2042 is not it. There's literally nothing for me to explore there because I explored everything. There's nothing for me to grind. There's nothing for me to play interesting to play. Maybe if Battlefield had like a ranked mode or something like that, or some sort of interesting 5-on-5 mode or whatever, where maybe I would care more. But no, there's nothing in this season that is interesting to me. I played Haven like 10 times now. I'm done. I'm done. There's nothing. There's literally nothing for me to play for. Regarding the Battle Pass, I'm like, okay, cool. This season, for example, they teased Pan Asian Coalition. So they were dropping teasers for the new season, and they were saying like, oh, Pan Asian Coalition, as a faction for 2142 is finally coming, but it's not really Pan Asian Coalition. It's called Thousand Petals Coalition. Okay, whatever. That's a very stupid name, but whatever. Okay, sure, whatever. Pan Asian Coalition is coming. At least the origins, I guess, of it are coming to Battlefield 22. And is there anything in Battlefield 2042 to indicate that there's a new faction or whatever the case may be is in the game? No. It's literally... Is my stomach rumbling? I'm sorry if you hear that because I'm hungry. Is there anything about Pan Asian Coalition in the game? No. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely not. There's nothing. There's actually nothing. There's no... Maybe there's some story bits in some of the banner cards. Sure. But regarding Pan Asian Coalition, regarding some sort of gameplay or anything visual, something, no, it's just a couple of skins. It's just maybe 2-3 skins about Pan Asian Coalition, and that's kind of it. There's nothing. There's literally nothing about Pan Asian Coalition. I'm sorry, it's not even Pan Asian Coalition, it's Thousand Petals Coalition. What a stupid name. What a stupid name. Can they even do anything right? So all my excitement about Pan Asian Coalition coming to Battlefield 2022, it's literally nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's nice to have skins that kind of represent Pan Asian Coalition. Sure, I'll give them that. Do I care? For a couple of skins? No. You might as well put there and Terminator skin or whatever. I don't care. Because it's not it. It's just I don't really care. Also, regarding going back on the Battle Pass of Season 7, I did check, as I was going through all my notes right now, some of the skins in the Battle Pass are jungle themed. So you know how me and Ray, I mentioned before, me and Ray were saying, oh, the next map is going to be like a jungle team or like a forest team or something like that, because that's what we do if we were game designers, because we want to bring variety to the game, in terms of maps. We get 2 desert maps, and the Battle Pass content is basically soldier characters or whatever are jungle themed, forest themed. I mean, sure, you can use them on other maps. Don't get me wrong. Like maybe they decide to add, jungle themed cosmetics into the game because it doesn't have to be all about desert and everything. So I understand. Maybe you want to bring a bit of variety in the Battle Pass, and I get that. That's fine. But as I go through the skins right now, I have them in front of me. They're just recolors and a bit of low-key redesigns. The skins that are in the Battle Pass, we already have it in the game. The only difference is like either some new asset was added on them, like leaves were added on top, maybe sunglasses were changed, or instead of a cap you have night vision goggles or anything. Some of it is just pure recolors of boring ass colors. When they were saying they were never saying, but when they start to reuse assets for the new map, to make something unique and fresh and so on, I get that. I did not mean they should be reusing character skins that are literally the same and just recolor them, or add an asset and call it a new skin, or just change a character's, hat into a night vision goggles and call it a day. I don't think that's what I meant by reusing assets, my dude. I don't think that's the right way to do it. So that alone, Battle Pass itself is not that interesting because we already have these skins. It's just minimal changes to the character skins. It's like that we already have. It's not interesting. It's just, why I have to waste my time to grind for this? And it will be literally a waste of time. It's fine. I'll just play wherever I can, and I'm not spending money. This is gonna be the first Battle Pass season, the first Battle Pass in Battlefield 2042, where I'm not even gonna reach level 50 or 40 or 30. I don't know what level. I don't know. Like the lowest ever tier I got in Battlefield 2042 in terms of seasons, maybe it was like 60 or 70. I'm not gonna be close to that. There's no freaking chance I will play for that long. There's no way. Of course, the other thing they added for 2042 for this season is visual recoil. So originally, what I was really not a fan of them adding visual recoil to guns, and the reason behind that is because they understand that Battlefield 2042 weapons don't feel, chunky. They don't feel powerful. They don't feel like weapons. They feel like pea shooters sometimes. And I fully understand DICE trying to go back to the drawing board and try to fix, the feeling how the guns, shoot and feel and everything. How I understand that, because in a first-person shooter, when your gun feels like crap, it's boring. I fully agree with that. So I can respect them going back and try to, make the guns feel more powerful, more punchy, and all that kind of stuff. But I was really skeptical if adding more visual recoil is the best way to do it, because a perfect example is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2 or Warzone, however you want to say it. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the game from last year. No, sorry, not last year. Last year, 2022, right? So that game, those guns had a lot of visual recoil. And when I say visual recoil, when you were shooting at someone, sometimes you could not even see what you're shooting at because your gun is shaking everywhere, and the smoke and muzzle flash and everything, you just could not see your target because there's so much shit happening in front of your screen that you could not even focus on the target. That was a problem. And now Call of Duty is backtracking it with, for example, with this new season that came out just last week. They tried to remove visual recoil from the old guns because they realized we understand people don't like it and it's really hard to aim, so we try to. And they're removing visual recoil step by step. They're not purely removing, but they're removing the extra stuff that basically makes it unusable in some cases. So Battlefield adding more visual recoil sound really bad, but they confirmed wherever, doesn't matter, wherever you aim, your bullets will go there. That's a fact. It's just a visual thing. I played it. First, I could not tell any difference whatsoever regarding visual recoil. Do the gun feels more punchy, more powerful, whatever? Sorry about the siren in the background again. Living in London is just amazing as usual. I could not tell the difference. Playing the game, I don't feel any difference. Does this gun feel punchy, more interesting, or more powerful? Not really. Still Battlefield 2042. Of course, with that, more bugs came in, I guess, which was expected, honestly. Some of the guns really work really wonky. So for example, there was a clip of a guy using an LMG, and he has the hollow sight on his LMG. So the sight itself is being straight, where he aims is being sharp, but the hollow sight itself and the gun itself, when he's ADSing, aiming the outside, is jumping around all of the fucking screen unnaturally, and it was so freaking funny to look at. Some of the guns you suddenly do like a 90-degree angle shooting, just shaking everywhere. Like that's not intended, obviously. Let's be honest. It's funny to look at. It's a bug. It's not supposed to be like that. I get it, but it's just so funny to look at this unintentional visual recoil happening, like shaking all over your screen. It's just, I don't know, fam. It's just, I think it's. The problem is not the visual recoil. It's never been the problem. This, to me, looks like a bandage to a bigger problem. This is just a oopsie doopsie solution to an actual bigger problem. It's not a little scar that you need to fix on your game. It's a big ass wound. Your game is missing a leg, my dude. You can't really fix it with a bandage or a nice Teletubby sticker on it, like whatever the case may be. There's a bigger problem here, and the bigger problem is that the guns are basically badly animated. I'm sorry, let's go to the core of the problem. The problem is not the lack of visual recoil or whatever the case may be, and that's why the guns don't feel powerful. The guns just don't feel good or powerful to use because they're animated really poorly to begin with. The reloading feels stiff, shooting feels stiff. Like, my God, some of the reloads, are really stiff and bad. Like it's from, I shit you not, some of the Battlefield 4, the game that came out more than 10 years ago, have better reload animations than majority of the guns in Battlefield 2042. Animation feels really stiff. It doesn't feel satisfying. The running animations also don't feel, really immersive or powerful, whatever you want to call it. It's just the way the guns designed for 2042 from the get-go were not that good to begin with. So that's why you should focus more. You should focus more on remaking these guns to be, more, what's the word? God damn it. Not punchy, more reactive, more, when you actually do something, like smooth, more smooth, the transition from reloading to aiming, and from running to aiming, and aiming to reloading, whatever the case may be, you kind of need to work on that, because that's what Battlefield 22 has been lacking. It's like, since its launch day, guns never felt good. They felt stiff. And that's because of the animations, So adding more visual recoil sure may give an illusion that the guns are a bit more punchy, but at the end of the day, it still doesn't change the fact that it doesn't feel good to use them. The transitions, the smoothness is not there. Granted, Modern Warfare 2019 is godly. It's like it's god tier animations. Whatever they were smoking at the Infinity Ward, I want some of that, because they did some god's work making those guns feel amazing and smooth, and reloading feels like you just orgasm just from watching on it on the screen. That's amazing. Modern Warfare 2019 is that. I understand you can't really reach those levels of, it's those were god levels, and I don't think you can reach it that easily. Like, you have to commit a lot of reasons to achieve that. But compared to like current Call of Duty games and how Warzone is and everything, guns feel really amazing. Sure, some of them like feel a bit like, whatever, we've seen it before, whatever. But they feel good. It feels good to shoot a gun in Call of Duty. In Battlefield, it's completely opposite. It's just another prop in front of your screen. That's so. I hit my mic by accident. It's just another prop in front of your screen, and it doesn't feel good. So adding visual recoil is just like, whatever. It doesn't fix the bigger problem, because the guns itself are not designed well. I rather focus on, making the guns more interesting and more smoother, more transitions, making it more easier to, to use more, like just to feel a bit more fun. But that's regarding visual recoil they added for Season 7. They increased the turret speeds for the tanks. That's nice. I mean, you all know, that's been listening to me for ages, you know I main tanks in Battlefield. Using a tank in Battlefield 2042 since launch was abysmal. absolutely abysmal. They changed some stuff. They made it a bit better. Fast. The tanks are faster, more responsive, and much quicker. It made it better. Good. I like that. They even added APS, Active Protection System, to tanks 2 years later, but they did that, but that was like last year. They finally did that. And finally this season, they increased the turret speed, so game always had this, like, they always, like, had a problem, like, oh, if you move your mouse really fast, to the left or right, just like the tank turret, the turret of the tank took its time to go to that location because, balance reasons or realism or whatever you want to call it, whatever the case may be. They increased the speed for the turret to turn. So it's still not as fast as your mouse, obviously, and I don't think it should be, but it's fast enough now, and it's really amazing. It feels really good. So I applaud, like, here you go. I applaud them. I applaud DICE developers for actually doing that, because tanks feel good now. Not the best. Don't get me wrong. There's always something to improve, but they feel good. That they feel really good, and I like that. And I have nothing wrong to say about that. It's fantastic. Okay, sip of water quickly. Okay. What else there to discuss? Nothing much, honestly. That's the thing. There's nothing to discuss for the season. Like, okay, the new map is fine. Not great, it's just okay. Stadium is probably gonna be okay. New guns, haven't used them yet because I just... whatever. New guns. Who cares? They don't feel good anyway. Maybe I heard comments about 5K 5C feeling really good, so maybe I should, unlock that and I tried. Sure, I'll probably do that. But overall, it's just sure some quality of life improvements there and there. There's nothing interesting. It's just I'm already bored. There's other games that need my attention that I rather play. And Battlefield 2042 literally is offering nothing for me as a player, as just a random player that loves Battlefield. I love Battlefield. There's a reason why I host this, this podcast, because I really love Battlefield. But there's nothing for me interesting there, It's just like, Haven is just okay. Guns are okay. Cosmetics, don't give a fucking damn anymore. I have enough. I already have the cosmetics I like, and I really don't want to grind for cosmetics for these ones because... yeah, whatever. And of course, like I said, me and Ray will talk about the cosmetics for Battlefield 2042 on Patreon. So check our Patreon, patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. And I don't know, it's just fine. It's just okay. Nothing interesting. Nothing about Pan-Asian Coalition. Just a couple of skins. I'm so bored of Battlefield 2042 because this. And this basically, Season 7 basically, let's hope I'm gonna be wrong about this. Let's hope I'm gonna be wrong about this. But this basically proves that the next seasons, 8 and 9, I presume it's gonna be 8 and 9, the next seasons for Battlefield 2042 are gonna be some boring mess. Like, it's not gonna be, we're not gonna have the Titan mode. We're not gonna get new vehicles. Well, maybe we're gonna get new vehicles, whatever. We're not gonna get, mechs. We're not gonna get Titans or whatever. Like, and I'm not talking about like a proper Titan mode or whatever the case may be. Like, no, for example, I recommend, me and Ray were discussing back in December. We were discussing, listen, how this is supposed to be a prequel to 2142, the futuristic Battlefield. This is supposed to be a prequel to that. So you have your Titans, your mechs, and everything, and so on. You should have that. It's because it's a prequel. You would imagine you would include those, maybe prototypes or whatever into the game. There's literally nothing, any of that in the game that basically screams this is a prequel to 2142. There's literally nothing in there. Sure, we have a railgun, but that railgun doesn't look anything like the original railgun that looked in Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4, my dudes, a game that came out more than a decade ago, that was a prequel also to 2122. And the Final Stand DLC for Battlefield 4 was a better prequel to 2142 than Battlefield 2042. You know, that DLC was a better prequel to that game than Battlefield 2042 ever was. And that, if that doesn't tell you what kind of big problem that is, I don't know what to tell you, man. You know, the whole story department or whoever is responsible for, you know, the direction of the game or the creative decisions, whatever the case may be, I don't know who's responsible for that. They're really bad at their job. So they're really bad at their job. And then, it's probably not the person itself. It's probably not, it's someone at management, someone on the top making these decisions, whatever the case may be, and it's just so bad. Like, there's nothing. So this basically confirms for the next seasons, the last 2 seasons, I presume, for Battlefield 2042. I was wrong before, and I hope I can be wrong again. But we're not gonna get any mechs, we're not gonna get any Titan mode or anything like that, and you don't have to make a brand new Titan mode like it was in 2142. You can just take Star Wars, like me and Ray discussed in December. You can just take Star Wars Battlefront 2 as a reference and do that. So you can use all 21, oh sorry, not 21. You can take this game, right? 2042, you know, Battlefield 2042. Take all the maps, make some sort of conquest type of game, you know, whatever the case may be, is whatever. You can change some stuff, whatever. It's basically conquest, right? And the losing team or whatever have to defend the Titan. So you, like in Star Wars Battlefront 2, is basically if you win the game, if you win the ground game, right? You know, you have more flags and so on. You win that round and you transition to the ship and you play the rest of the match in the ship, and the defending team have to defend their ship core or whatever the case may be, right? And the attacking team needs to destroy it. And if you manage to defend that, you go back to the ground and try to do the same, right? So, and it's just a nice transition between ground and the ship, right? And you can do the same thing in Battlefield 20Battlefield 2042. You have all these maps, right? You have your hourglasses, your how's that South Korean map called? Whatever. You have all your 2042 maps, and you can have Titans literally flying. You know, prototype Titans in the background, just in the background. They're not playable, they're not usable. They're just in the background. You know, win the ground game, and you transition to a Titan, and you play a mode of Rush with 64 players on the Titan. Same thing. You could do that. But I don't think they will. Maybe as on the last. Alright, if they ever do that, it's gonna be the last season. If they're ever gonna do that, it's gonna be the last season, because it's just, you know, last hurrah for 2042. I can see that. I can actually see that happening. But I don't think they will. So I think the last seasons for 2042 will be really boring, very bare bones. It's because no one's really working on this game anymore. It's not a lot of people working on this because they need to work on a new game, and they already have problems with the new game. It's just not. I'm not looking. It's just so boring. This game is so boring. Just nothing interesting about it anymore. It's just like, I'm gonna stop talking about it. It's just. I'm not looking forward to the next season because I'm not expecting anything nice or something interesting or amazing. It's just gonna be another bare bones season, and it's just like, whatever. Right, a nice sip of water again. And let's talk about the quick mention of the leaks for the next Battlefield game. So, a couple of days ago, as we were recording the Patreon episode, and we talked about it on the Patreon episode, again, patreon.com/TheLankySoldier, we talked about it. So there was a leak from Mr. Tom Henderson, a again, you know how I feel about him. I don't have to repeat myself or whatever. But he gets majority of the information pretty right regarding that. Whatever he's talking about, he usually gets his information right. So what kind of opinions I have about him doesn't matter. But he basically said that the factions for the next game, the next Battlefield game, is NATO versus private military, some sort of private military. So NATO versus I forgot the private military group of Russia, regardless, whatever the case may be. Anyway, so NATO versus private military. That's apparently the mercenaries, the mercenary group, private military, mercenary group, whatever you want, whatever the case may be. On paper, you're thinking, NATO versus private military, right? Or mercenaries, whatever you want to call them. Sounds more interesting than any other Battlefield game? But that makes me question stuff like, oh, so you trying your best to avoid any controversy with Russia? I mean, don't get me wrong, Russia and I get the good guys here whatsoever. But this basically, I already mentioned this on the Patreon episode, but this basically proves that if this is true, this basically tells me that DICE or EA don't have the guts to be ballsy with their creative decisions. I don't know what the game is about. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's the premise of the game. Is this a sequel or a prequel or a reboot? We don't know. It's just, to me, this sounds like a safe choice. At one point, I'm really happy that, hey, having NATO as a faction, that's really actually really cool, because that means it's not going to be only USA. It's going to be, European nations too. You can have your NATO European nations like, your Finland, your Swedish, your, German, France, Spain, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. You can have all these kind of soldiers, and you can have, if you bring in classes for the next game, which I hope they are, if you bring in classes for the next game, you can have so many cool cosmetics of these military soldiers from different nations. This is basically Medal of Honor Warfighter on drugs, and I give me that. That sounds fantastic. And then you have a primary military group that can be anything you want. Basically, you can have all different type of cosmetics and skins and it can be from any nationality, whatever the case may be. You can make it creative. And maybe you can even do Russia 2.0, because but maybe it's a Russian private military group with some different nationalities, spreading into that group. God knows, shit happens, you can do that. Basically, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 did that. Makarov and his baddies are basically a private military group. Yeah, they're Russians, but they're Russian they're Russian military group consisting of different nations in a sense. Makarov's right-hand man is literally Australian, which is quite interesting way of doing. I have no problem with that. So they can do the same thing for Battlefield, the next Battlefield game. Idea is there. The premise is there and everything. So the tools are there to make something more interesting and really cool cosmetics, more cool characters. Also, that's cool. My only problem is, again, I don't know what the game is about. I don't know. It just basically tells me they don't have the balls to do something more interesting. This is the safest choice they could ever make. Of course, people is what else you could have, right? I don't know. What about foreign factions? What about North Korea and Russia? Go China. Go with any other, go nations, proper nations, fuck your politics and shit. It's a video game, right? Make it interesting. Call of Duty is not, they're not being shy about that kind of stuff. Yeah, of course they're trying to play it safe in certain cases and so on, but it's not really Russia. It's more like it's a private military group in Russia, or whatever the case may be. Like, it's fine, but it's just, I don't know. To me, it feels really safe. But again, this is just factions. This doesn't tell how the game is gonna be. What's the story here? What's so on. We just have to wait and see. We'll just wait and see what the creatives at DICE or EA will come up with, and if they have a story to tell, if they get their premise right, it can be a really interesting thing to explore, and we'll see how it goes. Other than that, I have nothing else to say. Conclusion is that Season 7 is just okay, but I'm already bored. Nothing interesting for me to explore. New Battlefield game is going, and that's gonna it. I have nothing else to say. And I'm gonna end the podcast on this note. Just thank you for listening. Thank you guys for listening to my ramblings about the new season. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had something was spinning in your head and thinking about it. Please do let me know what you thought about this episode. Please use the Google Forms document that is in the description. Check out our Patreon. Where, of course, support us. With financially, it does help. And in return, you get new episodes. You get new exclusive episodes that you can listen, and you can listen them on Spotify too, because Patreon added the feature that you can listen on Spotify. And yeah, that's kind of it. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting us. Check out Patreon, patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. I have to remind you all, do leave a rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or anyway, wherever you're listening. YouTube, leave a like. Spotify, leave a rating. It does help us to be discovered, and it helps a lot. So do that, please. And yeah. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you on the next one. I want to invite people for the next episode. Some people, it's not Ray, some people, and we're still trying to figure out all the details, see if that happens, that materializes. No promises yet, but I'm trying my best to make that happen, and it should be a really good episode next time. And maybe even this month. We'll see. On that note, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys on the battlefield. Have a good one. Don't be a douchebag. And have fun.